sit back, relax, and enjoy, because, ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime!
It's not gonna happen, and Daniel McMillan,
Pennsylvania native, kept your winning here at Pocono.
Third win of the season, and win the championship.
Ryan Benjamin with the last lap pass,
And he is going to score the victory in the Minute Maid 300.
Salmon Oskin, third win of the season.
He's gonna get it and only leads 3 laps today!
Welcome to the NOFSRL.
Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and welcome to the Darlington Raceway in Darlington, South Carolina for the Mello Yello 250. This a 37-lap event around this 1.366 mile speedway to crown a champion in Season 5 of the NOFSRL Turkey Hill Series. We are in store for a great battle in this championship. Trey Smith, your points leader, 659 points towards the championship. Carter Friesen, 5 points behind. Christian Vargas, 6 points behind. And they all start right around each other midway through the field. Join alongside Nathan Stapleton and Chase Harris for the call of today's event. And it's been a long season for these guys, but it comes down to just 5 points in this final race and 6 points for Christian Vargas and Chase. It's going to be a tight battle. Who do you think's going to win this championship here today between Trey Smith, Carter Friesen, and Christian Vargas?
I mean, I really think Friesen has the best opportunity. From the races I've seen, it looks like Carter runs up front every race. So I'm pulling for Carter in this one.
See what Carter Friesen can do. Of those 3 championship contenders, he starts deepest in the field. However, he's not too far behind Trey Smith and Christian Vargas in this race. And Nathan, it's a very interesting situation because we have 3 guys running each other. There are also a couple of guys who have a shot, like Zach Adolo, Jacob Hammond, Clark McKee, and Mitchell Collins. A lot needs to happen in order for those guys to win the championship. But do you think they are going to be very aggressive trying to get the race victory, which they need to win the championship, to possibly get it here today at Darlington?
I think so. Darlington is a very tough track, and if you want to move the way up to the front from being in the middle of the field, you have to be aggressive. And I think for some of these championship contenders, they might be racing with each other all day long, side by side, and if that ends up being the case, then we are in for one heck of a battle. But we just have to watch out for how many Darlington stripes those 3 championship contenders get all day.
And Darlington Raceway, a very difficult place to run, and for it being the finale race, definitely a very unique place to come for that. And like Nathan mentioned, if you're not careful, especially off of turn number 2, you can hit that outside wall, gain damage, and fall back tremendously. If you get stuck in the outside lane through turns 1 and 2, you're going nowhere. There's no grip on the outside lane through those corners. So these guys, Trey Smith, Christian Vargas, and Carter Friesen, all have to be careful not to lose positions in respect to one another. Like I mentioned, the points go as this. Trey Smith, 659 points towards the championship, 5 points behind is Carter Friesen. So if Carter Friesen finishes 5 positions ahead of Trey Smith, he will tie for him in points, and the tiebreaker between the 2 drivers will depend on the amount of top 5s, I do believe. And Trey Smith has more than Carter Friesen. So for both Friesen and Vargas, they have to be higher than Trey Smith in the points. They cannot tie with Trey Smith in order to win this championship. So it's going to be very, very tight, especially if they all finish right around each other in this race, which is very possible since they all start in the middle of the pack. But Carter Friesen, 5 points behind, Christian Vargas, 6 points behind, and then Zach Adolo, Jacob Hammond, Clark McKee, and Mitchell Collins all back in there with a very slim chance. They need to win the race for one thing and have Trey Smith essentially finish last, and Carter Friesen and Christian Vargas finish deep in the field as well. DeLello 40 points behind, McKee 43 points behind, or should I say Hammond 43 points behind, McKee 44 points behind, and Mitchell Collins 44 points behind. But it's going to be interesting. 37 laps in this race. One last shot to get a race victory for these guys here in the Turkey Hill Series. And there's some guys starting up front who have yet to win a race this season. So going to be interesting to see if somebody gets their first career win here today. On the pole position, it's Dylan Young in the number 48 starting alongside Ashlyn Boyd. And then in the second row, Josh Williamson in the number 39 starts alongside Christopher Altheby. For Boyd, Williamson, and Altheby, None of those guys have won a race yet this season. Same with Matthew Brown in the 24. But 2 weeks ago when we went to Gateway, Mark Allen got the race victory in that one. Landon Smith Jr., Chloe Reiner there. Landon Smith Jr., of all the guys who have a very, very off-the-wall shot, actually, he's 54 points behind, but he still has a good shot at going top 5 in points at the end of the season. So we'll have to see what he can do there, starting in the 7th position alongside Chloe Reiner. Number 96, Daniel Voyle, starts alongside Matt Tuck in row number 5. We got Christian Vargas there starting in 14th. Trey Smith starting in 17th. And Carter Friesen starting in 24th as you go through the rest of the field. And Chase, we already gave your pick on who's going to win the championship. But how about you, Nathan? Who's going to get this Turkey Hill Series championship here today at Darlington?
Well, I think it's going to be Christian Vargas. He's been very quiet this season. Not really the most consistent, but I think he might have the best shot here today. But anyone out of those top 3 can easily get the job done.
It's going to be a fun one here. The Mello Yello 250 here. Only 37 laps here today at Darlington. But we're going to crown a champion. And one last time in the Turkey Hill Series for 2020, we're going to have ourselves a great race. On the corner of the screen, you will see the points as they run. And right now, Trey Smith still holds the points lead. But will he be the points leader at the end of the day? One last race to determine a champion. We're green flag racing at Darlington in the Turkey Hill Series. And in the wall already, Ashlyn Boyd in the 87 through turns 3 and 4. Not exactly a traditional spot where we see those guys hit the outside wall. Boyd's going to fall back a lot. As for the race lead, Josh Williamson to the inside of Dylan Young on lap 2.
Here he comes, Williamson, man, I'm telling you, he could have a very good shot at winning this race. I mean, the 39 team, they had a good qualifying run, and now they're going to the lead. Watch out for him today.
He's going to take it away. Dylan Young in the outside wall and around. Christopher Albee down the front stretch in the inside wall. No caution yet. Trey Smith is in the middle of all that. And they're going to have to transition back on, and they won't. Vargas in the wall hard as Owen Miles in the 52 went down on the apron and came back up through the field. And what an unfortunate wreck for Christian Vargas. This will take him right out of championship contention, and he is not going to be happy with Owen Miles after that one.
Yep,
what
Christian
on
Vargas.
earth was that? Trey Smith avoids contact
right
in the 66 machine, and the other championship contender of Carter Friesen also avoids contact, thankfully. But Christian Vargas is going to be knocked out of championship contention. There's no way he's going to be able to continue, or at least contend, I should say, only unless he can stay out there. Both Trey Smith and Carter Friesen get eliminated from a wreck. We do have a cycle of pit stops. He'll run about 27 to 29 laps, so they're going to come down here, but they will have to come back down again before the end of the race. Josh Williamson going to lead us down for our first cycle of pit stops here in the Mello Yello 250.
That was really weird. 3 wide does not look at Darlington whatsoever, and unfortunately, they went onto the apron and just had nowhere to go but up the racetrack. Unfortunate, but I jinxed someone once again. I seem to do this all the time, and unfortunately, I don't think Christian Vargas will get the championship here today at Darlington.
Such a tough break there for Christian Vargas in the 82. Not even his fault. And Chase, you had that big stretch of races there in the Haas IndyCar Series where you pretty much seem to wreck every single time. And I'm sure you know what it feels like to be Christian Vargas, but now you know for a fact he's not going to win this championship only unless something drastic happens to Trey Smith and Carter Friesen. But from what you saw, don't think Vargas is going to be too happy there with the number 82.
Yeah, I don't even know what happened right there. I don't know why he didn't just back off and just let all the guys by, but he just came right up the track and wrecked them. That was pretty blatant in my opinion. I don't agree with that move there, but whatever, things happen sometimes. I know that from experience, and it's just really unfortunate for Christian. I know he's not going to be too happy.
He's still on the pit lane. Hopefully he can at least get it back out there, and he will. He's just going to need a big moment out of Trey Smith and Carter Friesen to have a shot at this championship. Matthew Brown went fuel only here. Going to have some interesting strategy here off the cycle of pit stops. But first, let's go ahead and see what happened to bring out the caution here in the Mello Yello 250 at Darlington. A huge wreck in turn number 1. Not necessarily a place we tend to see wrecks here at Darlington, but very unfortunate incident there off of the corner. Let's go ahead and see what happened to bring it out here at Darlington. Well, this whole melee started with Christopher Alphaby overshooting the exit of turn 4, and he came down on Jeremiah Dwayne, and that was right in front of Trey Smith. And at this point in time, Trey Smith had already surpassed Vargas on the racetrack, so he still currently leads in the championship. And you see Alphaby there, down below next to the wall. Owen Miles, though, is the man in question here, number 52 machine. Now, Jeremiah Dwayne's ahead of him here. And Owen Miles somehow gets shoved down low, but he didn't have to do so. He followed Jeremiah Dwayne, drove down on the apron. Jeremiah Dwayne was able to save his race car, but Miles was not. Got him the Mendez, came back up, and Vargas was there in the 82. Ryan Benjamin as well in the 21 getting some damage as well. And a couple of guys are going to be knocked out from this incident here. We got some guys here in the back who tried to slow down. It's a narrow racetrack, not much room to go when something like this happens. You see Logan Williams and Jake Rogers get involved there, along with Dale Salzman in the 12. Very unfortunate incident, and it took a while for all of that to unfold right there, but unfortunately, it may take Christian Vargas out of championship contention. The good thing for Vargas is, though, he is still out there on the racetrack, and all he needs is 6 points on Trey Smith, or should I say 7 points on Trey Smith, and 6 points on Carter Friesen. So if Trey Smith and Carter Friesen happen to get into a wreck and they get eliminated, Vargas could salvage enough points to possibly surpass them in this race. But the way it's looking right now, it's looking like we're going to have a battle between Trey Smith and Carter Friesen for this championship here at Darlington.
Alfie gets into the outside wall, goes down the racetrack into the inside wall, and then all heck broke loose after that. The 52 with Owen Miles, 3 wide, got onto the apron, couldn't save it, and up the track they went. And unfortunately, Vargas was involved, and a handful of others, the 37, the 12, I believe, as well. So, a unfortunate accident for multiple drivers, and unfortunately, Christian Vargas, who came in only 6 points behind, he most likely will not have a shot at the championship at the end of the day.
Yeah, tough break there for the driver of the number 82 machine, but unfortunately that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, and it really crumbled there in turn number 2. Let's go ahead and get to the restart. Josh Williamson is not the race leader anymore as Matthew Brown took strategy. Let's see what he can do on the restart here in the Mello Yello 250 at Darlington. We are back here at the Darlington Raceway for the Mello Yello 250, the finale in season number 5 of the NOFSRL Turkey Hill Series. A little bit of strategy off the cycle of pit stops. Matthew Brown, Landon Smith Jr., Kashawn Richardson, Daniel Voiles, and Jacob Hammond in the top 5 right now. Trey Smith all the way up to 6th. Imagine some of these guys might have taken tires, or should I say fuel only on their stop, and some guys might have taken some tires. So those guys with tires are probably going to have a bit of an advantage here, and I know Williamson is one of those guys who does have fresh rubber. Carter Friesen a little ways behind there in the 23 machine, currently in the 18th position. He is currently 12 places behind Trey Smith, so the way things are currently running, Trey Smith will be your champion, but still a long ways left to go in this race. Christian Vargas still does have a mathematical shot, even though he's all the way down in 37th with a damaged race car. Owen Miles, Jake Rogers, and Landon, or should I say Logan Williams, all out here at Darlington. 37 drivers on the lead lap, lap number 8 of 37. 30 to go in the Mello Yello 250. A good jump for Matthew Brown. But Landon Smith Jr. right behind him, looking to gain an advantage here. Everyone relatively single file. Voyle to the inside for third on Kashawn Richardson. And here comes Landon Smith Jr. looking to get a run on Matthew Brown for the race lead.
Yeah, Landon had in my opinion, I think Landon had a better restart than Matthew did there. So I would not be surprised if he takes the lead on this lap. And there he goes right there.
Oh boy, Voiles
gosh, that was close.
Got into Matthew Brown, and here comes Jacob Hammond in the 47. Trey Smith stuck on the outside lane right here. And Carter Friesen looking to close in the 23. Friesen has Dylan Young behind him, but not in a very intense battle right now. Trey Smith continues to fall back, as I believe Smith decided to go fuel only on that cycle of pit stops. You got Bobo Jones here in the 73 moving to the inside of him. Matt Tuck as well in the 44. As we go back to the race lead, number 11, Landon Smith Jr. holds on with Daniel Voiles, Jacob Hammond. Here comes Chloe Reiner to the inside of Matthew Brown for the 4th position. As down the pit lane is Joshua Rush in the number 98. These guys hit that outside wall a little too much. They may come down the pit lane, so guys like Trey Smith and Carter Friesen got to be careful. But look at this. Trey Smith still stuck in the outside lane. Carter Friesen looking to surpass him. Richardson in the outside wall off of turn 4. Normally we see these guys hit the outside wall off of turn 2, but they've been doing it off of turn 4 all day as Friesen goes to the inside of Trey Smith and surpasses him. He needs 6 points to win the championship, and he's got 2 of them right now. We'll have to see if Smith falls back anymore. Jordan Lopez and Mitchell Collins in the gaining advantage. Carter Friesen to the inside of Richardson. So that's going to be 3 cars in between him and Trey Smith. So 4 points, but it's still Trey Smith by 1 point at the moment. As for the race lead, Daniel Voiles has taken it away from Landon Smith Jr., but Landon Smith Jr. looking to strike back on the inside. Jacob Hammond in the 47 looking to strike if these guys get into it a little too much here. Still side by side for the race lead between those guys. Go back here with the number 23 of Carter Friesen. In the wall hard is Keshawn Richardson in the 25. He's going to bounce off. Thankfully, they avoid contact, but Richardson having a little trouble there off of turn number 4. Trey Smith still barely holding on to this points lead, but Carter Friesen looking to slice through this field here to the inside of Josh Williamson for position right there. Bobo Jones at the outside wall. Matthew Brown to the inside of him. And Landon Smith Jr. holding on to this race lead, but he's got a gaggle of cars right behind him. And Jacob Hammond, Chloe Reiner, Matt Tuck, and Daniel Voiles. Keep in mind, we will have another cycle of pit stops in this race, and it's going to be right near the end of the race as well. So this is going to really get interesting in terms of the championship battle between Trey Smith and Carter Friesen. But they're right on each other right here, and Trey Smith continues to hold on.
For me, this whole pit strategy thing, I don't understand why people just took gas when tires mean so much at this track. I would have taken just both and just, moved my way up through the field and just wait till the end to make a second pit stop and went gas only. But I guess some teams are thinking some strategy and trying to get their track position.
I'm just going to have to see if that plays well into Trey Smith's hands later on down the road. Jacob Hammond to the inside of Landon Smith Jr. for the race lead. And already a lot more lead changes going on here today than what we saw yesterday in the truck race. The trucks are a lot different, even though they run the same physics now. They are a lot different than these Turkey Hill Series cars. Matt Tuck's going to go to second in the 44 machine. He hasn't won a race on Navafan in quite some time, and here he is running in second now, and he may get a run to the inside of Hammond for the race lead now. 44 to the inside, and Nathan, I'm sure you're loving this, seeing your guy battling for the race lead here at Darlington. Landon Smith Jr. there going to go right behind the 44 of Matt Tuck. Here comes Daniel Voiles in the 96 as well. All these guys run on each other, go back to the championship battle, and they have relatively remained in their respective positions. Carter Friesen, just hit the outside wall there off of turn number 4, currently in 12th, and he's going to lose a position there to Dylan Young, and he may lose a position to Trey Smith as well, and he will. So Smith back ahead of Carter Friesen, a much more comfortable position right now for a points leader here in this one as Friesen continues to fall back. We'll have to see how that affects the outcome of the championship later down the road. But Matt Tuck, your race leader here at Darlington in the Mello Yello 250. Looking to hold off Landon Smith Jr., Jacob Hammond, Daniel Voiles, and Matthew Brown for this race win.
Yeah, Matt's got a decent-sized lead, but Landon Smith Jr. looks like he might be closing in. So I think there could be a lot of lead changes today, especially with how many people might hit the outside wall. But it's going to be very interesting to see, how tight and how loose the cars are. Some cars look a lot different handling than others, so it's going to be a race to the end for sure.
We're going to have to see how all these guys fare. Top 3 have pulled away. Matt Tuck, Landon Smith Jr., and Daniel Voiles. Considerable gap ahead of Matthew Brown right there. Igar Barreto in the 2 inside the top 10. Zach Rogers with a great run. Dodge has not won a race all season long. Scorpion Motorsports, one of the worst teams performance-wise this season, unfortunately. But Zach Rogers looking to get a win for those guys. And Trey Smith Really starting to put a gap now on Carter Friesen. Friesen had him for a moment, but Friesen may have gained a little bit of damage right there as he hit the outside wall, and he has been falling back ever since. So Trey Smith, at this point, is just managing this race. He's going to gain another position here on Dylan Young, most likely, as Young overshoots the corner. He's going to stay behind him for the time being right here as Seth Cole in the 79 machine looks right behind the 66. Seth Cole won the Mello Yello Southern 500 last year in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, so he knows how to get it done here at Darlington as he follows Trey Smith in line. But back to the race lead, and Landon Smith Jr. has taken it away from Matt Tuck here at Darlington. All the battles for the race lead you see in the corner of your screen. Obviously, we got two battles going on right now, but the championship battle, at least at this point, has seemed to calm down a little bit. So Landon Smith Jr., Daniel Boyles, and Matt Tuck battling for this race victory here. Only lap 21 of 37, already halfway through the Mello Yello 250, but one more pit stop left to go for all these drivers here at Darlington.
Smith pulling away a little bit there, but we know that Boyles will probably end up closing in. So it's really, I mean, it's kind of a chess match between these top three. You know, you got to see who makes a mistake, and as soon as they make the mistake, you're going to capitalize on it. That's kind of what Darlington's about. You know, Darlington stripes are never what you want, but
caution back on the racetrack. Another wreck here at Darlington, and Brandon Mayhew in the 0-2 might have gotten sent around. And this might be a saving grace for Carter Friesen here in this one, because he may now finally have a shot at possibly jumping the 66 on strategy here, but this is a perfect opportunity for the field to come down the pit lane and service their race cars one last time here today. Landon Smith Jr. wins the race back to the line in the number 11 machine. We'll have to see if he can hold on to this race victory for his first win of the season. Been an interesting race so far, no doubt about it. But Trey Smith doing a great job right now here, running inside the top 10, holding on to this points lead, looking for the championship. I have to see what this cycle of pit stops can do for these guys. As a matter of fact, these guys almost don't look like they're going to come down right here. Interesting strategy. They came down on lap 5, but 32 laps to go. And it doesn't appear that these guys are going to come down. Jordan Lopez is going to come down in the 22 machine, but it does appear that he's going to be the only one right here. Oh boy. And with this caution, this may give these guys enough of an opportunity to save fuel until the end of the race. So I'm wondering if that's what they're thinking here, but definitely would have thought some of these guys would have come down the pit lane right here, especially considering how significant tire wear is at this racetrack. But you know, if no one's coming down, you're Trey Smith, Carter Friesen. You don't want to lose all those positions on the racetrack. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see if these guys might just try to go green flag pit stops at the end, or if they can make it to the end of the race without having to come back down again. Vargas obviously doesn't really have much to lose because he was already at the back of the field, so an opportunity to work on that race car a little bit. But a very interesting move there out of those guys. Would have thought that they would have come down the pit lane, but they did not. Do you think that's going to affect them later on down the road here in this one?
I definitely do. If I was the crew chief, I would have for sure brought my guy down. You know, just so I know he's good till the end. But it appears that most of the crew chiefs out there don't think that they should. So, I don't know. Maybe they're hoping for another wreck, or maybe they're thinking they're safe fuel. We're going to have to see what happens at the end of this thing.
And we will see what happened to bring out the second caution of the day here in the Mello Yello 250. Quite possibly the last caution in Season 5 of the Turkey Hill Series. Let's see what happened to Brandon Mayhew to bring it out here at Darlington. And right here, this was coming off of turn number 4. Turn 4 has been a trouble spot here today for a lot of these guys. And it was another Scorpion Motorsports machine on the outside. But this time, it's Brandon Mayhew who overshoots the corner, gets him to Zach Rogers. And just gets sent around right there. That was all that ensued, and this was inside the top 10 when it happened, but it's going to change the entire complexion of this race. We'll have to see if Trey Smith gets stuck in this outside lane, if Carter Friesen can close in. Will these guys have enough fuel? A lot of big questions going into this one here at Darlington.
So right here, you can just see Mayhew pretty much just sends it in there. I mean, he didn't even hardly lift for that corner, so obviously he wanted that spot, but it did not work out for him at all.
He's going to lose a ton of ground in the 0-2 machine here at Darlington, so Tough break for Mayhew, who could have had a shot at the race win. Not going to happen in the final race of the season. But Trey Smith still the points leader, still in the championship lead. Landon Smith Jr. still the race leader, looking for his first win of the season in the final race. It quite possibly could be the final restart of the season here in the Turkey Hills Series, season number 5. Let's see how it all goes down here at Darlington. And we are back here at Darlington. It's quite possibly going to be the last restart of the race here in the Mello Yello 250. Landon Smith Jr., Daniel Voiles, Matt Tuck, Matthew Brown, Igor Barreto, and Zach Rogers, the top 6. Nick Smith, Ashland Boyd, Trey Smith, and Seth Cole, the top 10. And Trey Smith a considerable ways ahead of Carter Friesen here in this one. But if Smith falls back, Friesen still has a shot at winning this championship here at Darlington. He needs 6 points. He needs 6 positions on Trey Smith to win him. Right now he's about 10 positions behind. And another big question is, we don't know if these guys are going to be good on fuel to the end. None of them came down the pit lane except for Jordan Lopez and Christian Vargas. So this could really get interesting here on these final 11 laps. But the pace card's pulled off. It's been a great season here in the Turkey Hills Series. Let's see how it all goes down these final 11 laps of the season. Landon Smith Jr. going to lead him back to the green flag here in the Mello Yello 250. And a great restart there.
Yeah, not a bad restart by Landon, but at the same time, he is getting pressure from Voiles, so wasn't a great restart, but it wasn't terrible either.
Pretty much single file throughout the entire field right here. These guys running it clean. Of course, Trey Smith doesn't want to risk losing any positions right here. He's going to move to the inside of Ashland Boyd. That's going to be another position for him right there. Top 3, top 5 all on each other. How about Igor Barreto, Matthew Brown? Barreto won Iowa earlier this year. Matthew Brown, Matt Tuck, and Landon Smith Jr. all on this top 5 have yet to win races this season. It's really tight up front right there as Voiles tries to get a run on Landon Smith Jr. Can't quite do it. 10 laps to go, 9 to go next time by here in the Mello Yello 250 at Darlington. And all these guys holding on to their respective positions. You got to remember, too, the tire wear is very significant for these guys. It has been since lap 5 since they put fresh rubber on, if any of them have actually put fresh rubber on, because some of these guys went fuel only on that pit stop. So, going to be very, very interesting to see how this one plays out if they don't come back down the pit lane. Voiles trying to get a run to the inside of Landon Smith Jr., but no moves being made quite yet. But Voiles has a run to the inside for the race lead here on Landon Smith Jr. Matt Tuck might follow suit with the 96, but Smith's going to have the outside lane, and in the worn tires, that outside lane works very well through 3 and 4. And Landon Smith Jr. holds on to the race lead here on lap 29. 8 laps to go in the Mello Yello 250.
Man, it really looks like Daniel Voiles was almost trying to like give Landon a little bit of a tap, because I think Daniel is a lot faster. I just don't think he can quite get to the inside, especially with how big of a run the outside can get as long as you don't hit the wall.
We're just going to have to see. It's going to take a lot at this point to get around Landon Smith Jr. We saw in yesterday's truck race how hard it was for Ashland Boyd to get around Zachary Fitzwater. He was unable to do it, even though he had the fresher tires there at the end. We're just going to have to see how it all goes down. And speaking of fresher tires, Jordan Lopez was a guy who took fresh Goodyears on that pit stop. He's been slicing through the field by quite a bit right here. Obviously, Vargas unable to get anything done because of his damage, as Matt Tuck has a run on Daniel Voiles off of turn 2. Barreto's here the inside of Matthew Brown. Trey Smith in the 66 with these guys as well. Tuck's going to take second away from Voiles as Landon Smith Jr. is going to pull away from the rest of the field with that move right there. 6 to go here at Darlington for Landon Smith Jr. Will he get his first win of the season? Will Matt Tuck get a win in the 44 machine? Look at all these guys shuffling around, and Trey Smith got stuck in the outside lane. He's going to fall back a little bit right here. The big thing is, though, Carter Friesen is way behind in the 23 machine and also on the outside lane. So it's looking like it's not going to be too bad for the 66 machine. He's going to get back in line there, but he did hit the outside wall there for just a little bit. Back to the race lead, Landon Smith Jr. Matt Tuck trying to close in here. With now 5 laps to go in the Mello Yello 250.
Yeah, Trey Smith hated being in that situation with especially how racy they were, but now they've calmed it down a lot, and he's just content with riding where he is, I'm sure, so he doesn't need to win. He just needs to take it easy and make sure nobody puts him on the outside line, but he has a lot of gap between him and the guy behind him, so looking pretty good for Trey.
It's definitely looking... Oh, caution's back out
Caution.
again, and Carter Friesen in the 23, heavily destroyed. That will end the race. Landon Smith Jr. wins the race back to the line. And Trey Smith will win the championship in Season 5 of the Turkey Hill Series. How in the world? And it was turn 2 this time around. Carter Friesen got into it with someone. Vargas heavily destroyed as well. And the challengers could not challenge well today here at Darlington.
Well, I guarantee you one thing. Friesen and Vargas are not going to be happy with whoever caused that, because Vargas was already mad, and now Friesen's going to be mad, so gonna have some angry drivers after this.
Well, one driver, or two drivers, I should say, who will not be angry. Both with the last name of Smith, and the joke was at the beginning of the season, like, we had 10,000 Smiths in the series. Well, how fitting is it that we're going to celebrate 2 Smiths at the end of the season? Landon Smith Jr., given that he does not have an issue on this final lap, will get the race victory here in the Mello Yello 250. And Trey Smith, in the number 66, won the first race of the season all the way back at Daytona in February. And he's going to hold on and win the championship as long as he holds on to his position here at Darlington. What a run for Trey Smith. North State Racing, a single-car team. Now, given North State Racing a very experienced team when it comes to racing on Napa fam, so no surprise to see him have a strong program this year. And Trey Smith, with this Turkey Hill Series championship, is going to have a reserve for the NOFSRL Cup Series next season. So we could be definitely seeing Trey Smith maybe even driving for North State Racing next season. For the Cup Series program over there. But either way, bit of a wild race here at Darlington. Let's go ahead and see what happened to Friesen and Salzman and Mendez. And Mark Allen in the number 8 also caught up in this huge wreck here on lap 33. Edwin Mendez, number 99. Joshua Rush, number 98. I think Rush had fresher tires right here. And Mendez tried to cut down on him in turn 1. And, yeah, not a good place to wreck. You know, this is not a good place to wreck. It's kind of like Bristol or Dover. Like, you get caught up. So many guys are coming in high speed, and there's not much room to go, and a lot of guys get caught up. And for Friesen and these guys, they just simply had nowhere to go. There's Friesen. Mark Allen also gets involved. Got into the back of Mayhew right there. Alphaby, Kashawn Richardson also in the outside wall. Dale Salzman, and there's where Vargas got his hit. And, you know, regardless if this happened or not, Trey Smith was probably going to win the championship, but that just adds salt to the wound there for Carter Friesen and the Go Neum Racing team. They had such a good season going on. We're leading in the points there for a short bit of time, but Trey Smith came out of nowhere there near the end, and it's looking like Trey Smith is going to get this Turkey Hill Series championship here today at Darlington.
So right here, Mendez, you see, gets in the wall a little bit right there, and then a big run comes from Rush. And Mendez, I'm not really sure why he tried cutting down. I mean, Rush was already there. They go in the wall, and then it just becomes wild right here. Look at Friesen go airborne. It's just a crazy wreck. Don't see that kind of wreck at Darlington most of the time, but saw one today, and it's really unfortunate for Carter Friesen.
Been an unfortunate day for a lot of drivers. 3 cautions in this race, some of the most we've had all season in the Turkey Hill Series. They were getting their jitters out the end of this season, but it's going to be Landon Smith Jr. going the victory lane here in the Mello Yello 250, and Trey Smith most likely winning the championship here at Darlington. Let's go ahead and get the official finish of the race here from the Darlington Raceway. And we are back here at Darlington on the final lap under caution. Very unique race to end the season. Had a lot of different winners this season, and we're going to add one more to it with Landon Smith Jr. in the number 11. But how about Trey Smith? Number 66, North State Racing. They won Daytona, they won Dover, and they won Armory Digital this season. Had a great season, especially near the end of the year, and that's how you win the championships. And second Trey to win the Turkey Hill Series championship. Trey Bartow won it back in season number 2, I do believe. No, season number 3, I think. Yeah, season 3, excuse me. It was a long time ago, so I really can't remember. And Trey Smith will join Trey Bartow as a Turkey Hill Series champion, as on this final lap, Matthew Brown with an issue. And number 24, that's unfortunate for him to end this season down the pit lane.
I've got a gas.
And we could have had some issues with fuel there right at the end, but it may have been a good thing this race is going to end under caution, because who knows what would have happened if we had a fuel mileage race at the end of the season. Either way, Landon Smith Jr. in the number 11 is going to win the final race of the season in Season 5 of the Turkey Hill Series. He will cross the line and grab the victory in the Mello Yello 250. And your Season 5 Turkey Hill Series champion is the driver of the number 66 North State Racing Machine, Trey Smith, your champion here in the Turkey Hill Series, Season number 5.
Congratulations to Trey Smith, well-deserved championship for sure. He put together a great race, stayed in the spot where he needed to, and it ends up paying off, and he becomes the champion. So congrats to him. I know that's got to feel great, especially having a reserve. So that's always a good feeling.
Yeah, and you can see these cars now starting to drop like flies down to the apron there. They're running out of gas here on the cool-down lap. But Trey Smith is your champion here in Season number 5 of the NOFSRL Turkey Hill Series. He finishes in the 10th position for his 11th top 10 of the season. And it would have been a good battle if Friesen stayed into it there, but he fell back there and was already mired back in the field, which was the reason why he was involved in that accident. Christian Vargas as well getting caught up. Such an unfortunate break for those guys, but either way, what a race to end it all off here at Darlington. Really wacky event, but Trey Smith gets it done, and he is your champion. And like I said, he's going to get reserved for the NOFSRL Cup Series next season. Definitely looking forward to seeing what Trey Smith can do over there. And odds are he'll probably move up to North State Racing next season. And obviously, Davey Johnson's got a good program. We'll have to see what he can pull off. But either way, Chase, final thoughts on the whole season here in the Turkey Hill Series. You called a couple of races. And what are your thoughts on this race specifically with Landon Smith Jr. getting the race victory in the Mello Yello 250?
Oh, I'm super happy for Landon. I think, in my opinion, he had the best car all day. And so that's got to be cool, especially his first win.
Absolutely. First win of the season there for Landon Smith Jr. in the number 11 machine. First ever Napa Fam championship for Trey Smith in the number 66. But either way, we got 2 more championship races this weekend. We're kind of just getting started here, as tomorrow we have ourselves the Mello Yello Southern 500 in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, the finale race of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, and we got a very spicy points battle over there as well, as Nathan Baird trying to hold off Shane Lake, Alexander Rose, Silas Ord, and all those guys for his second straight Chick-fil-A Cup Series championship. And Chase Harris, my guy next to me, looking to get the championship in the Haas IndyCar Series. All he needs to do is not let Nicholas Samedeo win at Pocono on Monday, and he will be your champion in the Haas IndyCar Series 2020 season. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your Saturday. Landon Smith Jr. wins the final race of the season, and Trey Smith wins the championship in Season 5 of the Turkey Hill Series. Thank you guys so much for watching. On behalf of Chase Harris and Nathan Stapleton, we'll see you guys tomorrow for the Mello Yello Southern 500, the finale race in Season number 9 of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Here are the final point standings for the Turkey Hill Series Season number 5, and I will see you guys later.